Give me one moment, please. Let me do that. Does that work? That should work. It must be turned down, but it should theoretically work. Yeah, I know you see like 8 of me. Give me a moment. Let me do that. And that should work. I hope I'm not, like, ridiculously louder. But that should theoretically work. Oh yeah, here's my stream. Anyone want to watch the stream with me? Look, that's crazy. I need to mute that immediately. But anyways, hello everyone. Welcome to something a little different. So, either, what was it, like 2 Galleria streams ago, I said, you know what? I should talk about the entire lore of this game using Microsoft Paint, because that would be something. So, I don't know, here we are. I'm gonna go over the entirety of the heckin' lore in the Labyrinth game. Really badly. But that just seemed like the overmind thing to do. So, obvious warning to anyone watching the VOD and/or spoilers. This is gonna spoil the entire game. Up to and including a large cloud. If you know, you know. You will know by the end of this. So, if you have any interest in playing this game, you don't want to skip this one. But that being said, I hope my audio balance is right. No, you can watch. You know what? Here, you can see the overmind audio balance experience. Let's audio balance live. Okay, I think audio balance is balanced. Okay, that's how I audio balance live, just so you know. Anyways. Where do you want to start? We got like 2 different starting spots. I could either start like chronologically, which is a different mess, or we could start with the heckin' pro tags. Do I have a coin handy? I don't know, we'll figure it out. No, we'll start with why this game is sick. So, for those who somehow don't know, Labyrinth Galleria is a blobber. That's it on that end. You want gameplay information, you want to learn how to play the game better, go look up the game FAQ walkthrough. Anyways, the lore in this game is sick, but also very complicated and convoluted. I will get things wrong. For the one Galleria expert who watches this, feel free to be mad at me for all the misinformation I'm about to spread. Yeah. Because this is a 100+ hour game, and I'm going to try to condense all the lore into a few hours, if possible. That being said, though, I do have a text tool. That's so cool. Okay, so let's start putting some stuff on this so I can talk about it. Luna. If I could spell a Luna, we got a Oop. Why is Microsoft Paint like this? Why did I pick Paint? Estella. So, the basics of the game is this. You start at playing as what is known as Fanty, who can be this orb. How do I Microsoft Paint? How do I Microsoft Paint? Any paint experts in chat? How do I make my pencil bigger? Ah. No, that's not it. Is it this? No. I probably should have looked up how to use Microsoft Paint. How do I increase brush size? Oh, that. Perfect. Anyways, there's Fanty. That can be Fanty. That can be our Fanty stand-in. They have like an eye on them too, so we go like beautiful, excellent, perfect. There, that could be Microsoft Paint Fanty. So the start of the game is this. You start in what is known as a Luna, so you go here. Then you go to a Stella. So be Control Z, Control Z, Control Z. Then you go to Estella, which is be 2. You go back to Aluna, which is 3. You go... Technically, you go back to Estella at that point, I believe. Which would be 4. And then you go back to Aluna again, which would be 5. Now, for those who have already watched me, you know that the order you play the game is not the order the story happens. Because this, Aluna Estella, Aluna Estella, Aluna Estella, is wrong. Because we are missing a 3rd place. Aluna, if I could spell Aluna, Aluna 2. Perfect. So, the gist of the game is this. You play as Fanty over here. You are a wandering spirit, which means you get to exist outside the confines of time and space. Which also, unfortunately, means that you kind of just go wherever at what points in the story, which are not in chronological order. So we'll have to lay this out a bit easier. So we're going to start at the beginning. Because the first part of the story, let me branch this out a bit, is actually Estella 2. Actually, that's not true. The first part of the story is Aluna -1. Because we actually have -1 over here. Things that happen before you start playing as Fanty. So let's start at -1. Let me bump this up a bit more. So, text. Aluna -1. CC and murdering children like purple guy. That's not technically what happens, but it's funny. So TLDR basic world building. Magic is real. People can, magic is typically used by, women because they are witches in this world. That's not necessarily only used by women, but typically it's more prominently used by women because they're considered to be witches in the game. I don't make the gosh darn rules. Cece is a witch from what is known as the World Tree Tribe. Oh, okay, now getting into cosmology already. Oh, this is already going to be a mess. Quick TLDR about the cosmology of this game. There are 24 planets. Well, there's an infinite number of worlds, but there's only 24 stable worlds. Think of it like... I'll control over here. So here's the core world. C for core. And it's got a bunch of offshoots that lead to different worlds. Stuff like that. There are 24 of these offshoots. One of these offshoots is where we take place. Here's the problem with our offshoot. 1, 2. That is the problem with this game's offshoot. Where they are 2 worlds overlapping. This issue of there being 2 worlds in one offshoot causes many of the issues that will be faced in this game. Let me tell you, it's we're playing musical chairs with entire like worlds, and they don't like to share. Anyways, back to Cece. So Cece is from the World Tree Tribe. What that means is that she has the ability to move freely between some of these worlds. I say some of them. She can move between any of them that still exist. You can even go to like the heckin' weird offshoot ones that don't have a direct line, so they're unstable. But those worlds kind of suck because they're unstable. And she ends up in one of the twin worlds, the world of Aluna. While there, she meets a guy she falls into love with, known as Bisto. Bisto, not Bisto. So CC plus Bisto equals heart. There we go. They fall in love, get married, yada yada, all that. Bisto is an artist. Cece is a witch, but she has partial amnesia for reasons we'll get into later. Let me put a bit of red in the heart because I can, you know? Wow, look at that art. Look at that artistic. Look at that professionalism. I'm so good at this. So... what do I talk about first with those two? We'll talk about Bisto a bit. So Bisto is just your standard struggling artist. He wants people to appreciate his art for what it is and not just to sell it to make money. He lives in and they both live in an atelier attached to a large manor. The manor of Galleria. There's where the name part of the name game comes from. So, while the two of them are there, the person who owns the manor finds out about Bisto and really likes his art. So that would be Count Bismont. So, Count. There. Why am I doing that? I have text. I have the text tool specifically for this reason. So then we have Count Bismont. So he likes his art, and agrees to become his patron. So that happens for a bit. Everything's good for a bit. And then one day, Bisto invites Count Bismont over to the atelier. And while he's there, he learns about Cece. Cecilia is her full name. I call her Cece, like her husband does. I need some wine. I need water. A lot of water for this one. And, well, that's, and he learns about that Cece dabbles a bit in the art. Now, Bismont really likes Cece's art. A bit more than Visco's art. And that leads to issues. Because what Bismont wants is, you know what? I like her art. What if I could marry her instead of this heckin' weird artist guy? So he starts planting bad ideas in Bisto's head. Let me just write bad ideas here. And this happens for a while. Bisto becomes not a good husband. He gets drunk a lot of the time. He's not great when he's drunk. TLDR, bad. I don't know how much I want to I can't talk about quite in detail probably, but you can probably imagine if getting drunk and bad are on the table, you can probably piece together stuff. During this time, Cece becomes pregnant as well. This will matter. And then this happens for a bit. After a little while, this happening, Cece tries to reconcile with heckin' Bisto and get stuff fixed. And as part of that, they go on a boat trip on the lake. Visco is not trying to reconcile. He's trying to commit a little murder. He has pre-sabotaged the boat so it sinks because he knows Cece can't swim. So they go onto the lake on their heckin' boat. The boat sinks. Both of them almost drown. Count Bismont saves Cece from drowning. Visco does in fact die, and then Cece gets a heckin' broken heart from that, because despite all the heckin' bad stuff happening, she still kinda liked him. That's part one of the negative one. This is still pre before you started playing the game stuff. So she does what the only, reasonable thing to do would be. We did miss one step here, which I'll say, when I said Cece got pregnant, this isn't the first time. She's gotten pregnant multiple times, and every time she's miscarried. But that's okay, because every time that happens, she makes a artifact and puts the child's soul in it. That's where the 5 Freddy thing comes from. For these things of power that are known as curios. Okay, I have to get into the curio talk now, so welcome to another tangent. Let me bump this to make it a bit bigger. So we get into the curio tangent. Because now I need to talk about curios. Now we've hit that part. So, curios. Curios are essentially pieces of art that someone had to die in order to make because they're slightly magical. The thing about curios is, in order to make a magical curio, you have to put your soul into it, figuratively and literally. Upon making a curio, you are dead. With one exception. Cece found the 10-minute life hack to not die when making a curio. Why not just put the child soul in it? So, she made 7 of these curios, known as Cures d'Art. Curio d'Art. I probably misspelled that, but that's fine. Anyways, that's what happened to all her children. They all got put into heckin' curios. Anyways, back to this. So after she does this, it makes the 7. Now she's notably very mad at Bizparent, because she was under the impression that he caused Bisto to do these bad things because, you know, bad ideas. So she's like, you know what? He likes his art. What if I just literally make him stuck in a gallery forever? Wouldn't that be funny? So, she prepares what is known as the Labyrinth of Galleria. There's your title drop. It only took us 16 minutes. That's record pace. So what the Labyrinth is an ever-expanding gallery for him to have all of his pieces of art in, both the Cures d'Art as well as all the others, and be protected. However, as part of this, it needs someone to build and maintain it. So Cece goes like, you know what? Let's put his soul in there forever. So Cece kills Bismont. So let me write murder here. You know, murder, and puts his soul in the labyrinth. Nice, easy, quick, yada yada. And that's how we get the labyrinth. That's act -1. There's a couple more things that happen. She kills him. She then makes a puppet of her husband and reanimates it in order to eventually gather all the... Actually, no. One other important thing about Cece you have to get into. Cece is a witch, as I said earlier. She has the power of... let me just write down her witch power. She has the power of memory manipulation. She uses this on pretty much everyone. She used it on her husband. She definitely used it on Count Bismont. And she almost certainly used it on herself. Because she's like, you know what? This entire thing, that's a lot of trauma. I'd like to remove this trauma from my brain, please. Let me heckin' brain blast myself. And she did. But the problem is from there, she's like, after she brain blasted herself, she forgot why this labyrinth needed the Curios to stay in there forever. And she's like, you know what? Let me make a fake puppet of my husband, animate him with magic, and tell him, get my Curios back, because she didn't remember. She didn't remember that these were the Freddy Fazbear Child Soul Curios. He's like, you know, I probably need these Curios to do something important, because they're important to me. Make this fake puppet, go get the Curios, and then she jumps worlds to Estella. There's a couple more important things that happen here, but we'll get into those later. But that's the TLDR for -1. So that is the prologue. You do not learn this till fairly deep into the game. But this is what happens. There's a couple other things I'm skipping over that don't really matter, like Goes there. We don't care about him yet. Stuff like that. Now, let's get into the story of when you go in. So, the story of this game does not start in Luna 1, as I said. Hey, Katsumi. We're already... Hey, Katsumi, we're already in the heckin'... Get me out of here. We already talked about way too much. Anyways, the story starts... Yeah, it's okay being late. You only thing you missed was I was talking about CC and Bisto and everything that happens pre-Fanty. Crying for Galleria ending? Fair. So our story starts here in Estella 2. And by Estella 2, I mean, the world of Estella, and you start there. Let me bump up the canvas size again. You know what, can I just hecking... Wait, am I allowed to... Can I just quick resize this? I don't know how hecking paint works. Wait till that. Real... I don't know how hecking paint works. I don't know if I can just quick bump up canvas size. Anyways, so... We start in Estella with someone known as Nachi-Ru. I misspelled her name, but that's okay, because I'm just going to call her Ru. And our Nachi. First name Nachi, last name Ru. Nachi-Ru is a teenager. She is... That is her character trait right now. We'll get into her more specifics later. She's part of a fairly poor family, and she does not like the touching grass. What Nachi does like, however, is her family's general store, which she runs. Their family owns a general store and also / artifact store, bunch of knickknacks, etc., etc. Barely scraping by kind of deal. One day, a very particular customer comes to this store. Let me put him in text. So there's Nachi. If you... the customer, it'd be known as Cece or Cecilia, goes to say hi to Nachi in the store. And they say, hey, you know what? You got this really cool looking artifact known as which is certainly a curio. Like, dang, you got this cool curio in this thing. Can you find more of these things for me, please? These are pretty cool. And Nachi goes like, you know what? You gave me a lot of money for one curio. I can 100% get you more curios if you keep paying me money. Because it's Nachi. So then, Nachi's like, dang, how do I get more curios? Well, let's see. I've got this heckin' wardrobe that leads to this magic labyrinth that was created. I know. Let me use this cool magic book called the Book of Pole. That's what I'm gonna call it for now. So she has this cool magic book. There. Book. I'm such an artist. And she goes, you know what? I don't want to go in the heckin' death maze. Let me grab the boy to go into the death maze. So she summons the wandering spirit, which is come to known as Fanty. This is where you theoretically start the game in. Or this is where the game starts time-wise. You don't start here. You start in Luna 1, which happens much later in the game. And she says, you know what, Fanty? Go into this funny labyrinth. Get me these curios so I can make money. And so you do. And then this forms a bit of a loop that happens for a bit. Nachi sends you into the labyrinth. You grab a funny curio. You give it to Nachi. She gives it to Cece, who gives her money. So this happens for a little bit. And then, after this happens for a bit, Nachi does something known as crime. For you see, this is not the world of Aluna, we're in the world of Estella. And magic is highly regulated in the world of Estella. And Nachi is a bozo and is not a certified magic user. Oh, hey, Rain. How are you doing, Rain? I'm just getting into Estella lore. You missed the Twin Worlds explanation, unfortunately, Rain. Thank you so much for the raid. Hey, Gonzalez. Oh, if I cannot get sidetracked raid, thank you again. Where are we? Alright, so this happens, and then Nachi uses magic. I might say I'm doing good, Rain. I'm doing very good. Because, so she gets excited, she uses a spell that causes fireworks to happen. One of those fireworks leave her window. And then someone on the outside does notice that Nachi is using magic evilly. Not evilly, illegally. She's not evil yet. And that person would be, why am I drawing that? I have the text tool. That would be Kit Kat. Kit Kat's a character. But Kit Kat notices this and it's like, you know what? That's not allowed. Nachi should not be using magic, that's a crime. So, what happens is Kit Kat goes to Nachi. Things happen. This loop happens a bit more of artifact of Nachi says, go Fanti. Fanti goes get Curio. Curio goes to Thing. No worries, Johnny. Yeah, no worries, Ray. If you want to work, you want to leave, whatever. And then Kit Kat's like, you know what? Let's capture Nachi. So they do. Nachi is a hecking teenage girl. She could not resist being captured by the Funny Witch Society. So Kit Kat grabs Nachi and brings her to the Oracle. So let me draw the Oracle. Oracle. No, I'll just put her name. Yuru. That's not how you spell her name. We'll call her Yuri. Because that's her nickname. I need like a second Nachi over here, just so I can like have them both spaced out. We'll just call this one Rue. So Kit Kat grabs Nachi, brings him the Oracle, and it's like, you know what? Use magic illegally, that is a crime. However, we will let you off the hook if you join the Moon Society. Subtitle drop. So what the Moon Society is this is basically the licensed practice of magic. Because again, in Stella, everyone, in order to practice magic, has to be registered. And the Moon Society is the biggest branch of witches in Estella. It comprises pretty much everyone notable who does magic. Well, everyone registered who does magic, that's notable. There's a few exceptions. But they're like, yeah, you should join our society. And if you don't, we're going to put you in super jail forever and kill you. Because this is a war crime, Nachi. And then Rue says, Yuri, you look like a child. And Yuri says, okay, I hate you. And then these two do not like each other. And Yuri says, yeah, no, Nachi's not allowed in society. Please kill her. And Kit Kat says, dang, okay, rip Rue. So then Nachi goes back, and then this loop happens a bit again. And then Nachi tells Cece and says, hey Cece, the Witch Society hates me. I'm gonna go to super jail forever. And then Cece says, you know what, let me fix that. And then Cece has a connection, she pulls some strings, Nachi doesn't go to super jail, she gets to join the society. So, and then we get over to here. So then Nachi joins the Moon Society. Cool. So, I can put this here. The Anti-Cloud Squad, if you will. The Moon Society has one purpose and one purpose alone. That is to prevent what is known as the Universal Upheaval Phenomenon, also known as the Discordance, or several other names depending on what world you're from. What this Discordance is so you know how earlier, how no one was here when I said this, but the cosmology of this, we currently have two worlds taking up one slot in the cosmology. The Discordance is here to say, this is bad, don't do this. I'm going to blow up both worlds because this is not balanced. The Moon Society is here to, its job is to slow and stop this, because you kind of don't want your world just, blowing up. That kind of sucks for business. The problem is they can only really slow it down. They can't really, like, prevent it. But anyways, back, so that'll come up later in the whole explanation. It's a thing. Jeez, I'm gonna need to, like, take a picture of this at the end and just try to figure out what I was talking about. Anyways, then, Nachi joins the Moon Society. She learns proper magic from Claristia. Kit Kat teaches her how to lockpick. Like, she picks up a few skills. This loop keeps happening. By the way, while this loop is happening, Cece does use this, does mess with Nachi's memories, obviously, because she uses it on literally everyone she interacts with, including herself. So this will keep happening. If Cece is involved in part of the lore, just assume that this thing will be happening if Cece is involved, because she loves to do this. Like, unreasonably loves to do this. But anyways, one of Nachi's first goals is to, as part of society, the task they give her is, hey, we have 2 worlds in one place. Go to the other world and fix it, please. Go to Aluna. And so, Nachi gets sent to Aluna. So, which brings us over to 3 in the timeline. So we've gone from -1 to 2 to 3, because 1 still doesn't happen. So we go to point 3. So let me bring up Aluna. So what Aluna is it's one of the 2 twin worlds. It is a more medieval-based period compared to Estella, which was actually like 1930s, 1940s. Aluna's like medieval age-based. Which can seem like to some people like this is some sort of time travel. It's not time travel. These are 2 separate worlds, even though it's very easy to mistake it for just time travel. Time travel would be too easy. So they tell Nachi, go here, just like be here for a month or something. So Nachi gets dropped here and ends up in Galleria Manor. Galleria Manor is where this whole shenanigan happened with Cece and Bisto when she made the heckin' fake doll and all that. So she gets dropped here. And she's like, dang, guess I gotta kill time for a month. So she's here in the manor, she's staying on the site, there's the heckin' fake Count Bismont, which is the puppet of Bisto here. And then we get to meet Eureka, because she comes to the manor in hopes of getting a job. So, Eureka. Eureka, also known as Yuri, but not this Yuri, it's a different Yuri, is a very important character. So, I said these are 2 twin worlds? There is a couple other things that overlap in the twin worlds, except that. There's a couple other pieces of overlap in the twin worlds. One of them is this. Each world has their own version of Eureka, or Yuri, or Yuru, depending. And they are essentially the glue binding both worlds together. What this means is, if a Eureka were to die, the world would pretty soon go with it. Keep that in mind, this will be important later. Anyways, we're just gonna, what do I call him? We're gonna call him, like, Puppet Bismont or something. We're gonna call him Puppet Bismont, because they're not real Bismont. So Eureka shows up, gets a job from him. Bad things happen to Eureka. Puppet Bismont does not like her a lot at the start. Bad. The bad TM happens. I'm not getting into it, but if you play Labyrinth, just know there's a lot of the bad TM and the suffering TM. And, Nachi gets found out by Bismont, and she's like, you know what? I am a witch who is here to get you curios, because that is what she thought of on the spot. because he needed a witch for the labyrinth. And she's like, dang, that's maybe the one way he doesn't kill me. Swing at another Nachi down here. So this basic loop happens up here, except it's Nachi, go get Curios, Sinfandi get Curios, Curios go to Nachi, Nachi's like, hey, Bismont, you want a Curio? There's only a couple she found. I mean, she gets a few of them. Though she gets them all. She gets a bunch of Curios, including the Curios to Art, which... Oh, I forgot to mention, the things that the child tells them, these Curios to Art, they are in fact cursed. Each of them has some sort of ability. For our purposes, there's only a couple that will matter. One of them is going to be the book that gives you knowledge but kills you. That's the important one for now. Other thing to note, Eureka's really stupid. That is a plot relevant fact. So anyways, this happens for a bit. A bunch of random incidents happen at the manor. Most of them involve suffering for Eureka and or Nachi. Like, what happens? Oh, there's actually one more artifact that matters right now. There's the coin that gives you bad luck. So they do the labyrinth. Nachi ends up with this coin that gives you bad luck and doesn't know that it gives you bad luck. So a lot of bad things happen to her because of this coin. So Nachi is sad. She slaps the queen at one point, and then her guards like beat her almost to death. She keeps getting beat up repeatedly when she has this coin on her. She eventually figures out the coin's bad. There's the entire Prince Hubert arc, where Prince shows up and like is mean to everyone. I won't get into it, but like a bunch of incidents happen that aren't super plot relevant to the overall plot, but matter later. A bunch of stuff happens. There's a reporter shows up. He ends up stealing one of the curios and uses it to spark a revolution. A lot of stuff in here doesn't matter plot-wise. That happens, like, in the Aluna 2 arc. What is important that matters is that Nachi and Eureka find out that Bismont's a puppet. Nachi grabs a bunch of curios that Cece actually told her to grab, because before she left, Cece said, hey, if you find curios there, please give. What else happens? And then stuff happens. There's a revolution. The queen gets killed. The whole, like, medieval kingdom's overthrown. And then during either the revolution or a bit before, Eureka stumbles across this book that gives you knowledge but kills you. Note that this book doesn't kill you immediately. It kills you, I believe, night of or the following day. Oh, but there is one caveat. Actually, I think it might kill you during the next moon. I can't remember when. It has like a delayed kill you effect. So she reads the book, and it's like, dang, I now know I'm going to die because this book gives you a bunch of knowledge. So what she does is like, well, I'm going to die. That kind of sucked. Let me do something that matters. Eureka, during this whole time, has been keeping a diary of events, and which isn't really important yet, but she says, you know what? I got this diary. I have all this knowledge from this book. What if we make ourselves a curio of our own? So instead of, dying from the hecking book curse, Eureka goes, you know what? Let me make a curio and die to that, so at least it's something important. So Eureka turns her diary into a curio, which means we no longer have 7 curios to art. We have 8. This is something a lot of people can miss during the game. I've seen several people miss it. I missed it my first time that Eureka makes a curio. But this is an incredibly plot important thing that happens, that Eureka makes a curio as part of her death. Unfortunately, Eureka does die, which means that the heckin' discordance does happen, the world gets destroyed. Nachi goes back to Estella, which is going to be Estella 4. Other important things that happen in Luna 3, Eureka and Nachi become friends. That's about it. Because the thing is, based on gameplay order, you're like here in 3. This isn't very long gameplay wise. Estella 3 is not, sorry, a Luna 3 is not super long gameplay wise. It's a lot of running around getting payoffs for lore that happened in Luna 1. Because what this game is, it's like 30 hours of setting up Dynamos, and then you knock them all down for 50, and then you set it while you're setting up more at the same time. Like, it's fantastic. But it means that a lot of this isn't important to the overall lore thing we have going on. But anyways, we go back to Stella. So we're back to here. We go back to this loop, but instead of doing this loop, Nachi once. So yeah, we do this. This happens. Eureka's dead. She dies. Which means that Aluna is now dead, because without its connection, the world collapses. So everyone in Aluna hecking dies. Not the Labyrinth. The Labyrinth still exists because the Labyrinth is also a weird construct out of time and space, kind of like how Fanty's outside time and space. It's complicated. So there's that. And then we go back to Estella 4. So we go back to Estella. Cece immediately brain blasts Nachi to make sure that she can get what she needs from her. And then Nachi, because she got memory manipulated, forgot a lot of this, goes immediately right back to this loop. Of, go Fanty, get me curios so I can make money. So this happens for a while. Nachi forgets a bunch. I forgot about talking about Perico. Oh yeah, other important thing that happened to Luna before I forget. There's this magically animated doll called Perico, and they grow really attached to Nachi, and they come back with them when they come back to Estella. That's what's important. That's what else happens important there. So that's gone. That's gone. And at this point, the world of Aluna is gone. Like, Aluna is just deleted. This world does not exist anymore after that point in the story. And Nachi comes back. She does this loop a bit. She eventually gets back into the society. She gets some of her memories back. Not all of them, but some of them. So after this loop for a bit, things happen. She learns that Cece is actually bad and evil. Because what Cece has been doing in the meantime is she needed these curios, and she's now started just killing witches. And other things. There was a kidnapping where they kidnapped one of them. There's this person called Go, who is loosely affiliated with Cecilia. And they just go around and kill most of the people in the society. So the Moon Society here is basically wiped out. So they're basically dead at this point. It ends up with Nachi, Kit Kat, and Eureka inside the labyrinth, because that is their hiding place to hide from this happening. Almost every other witch dies. Only a couple live. The ones that live were either outside of, like, the nation when this happened, and or are Kit Kat and Nachi. Basically, where's my music go? Where'd my music go? Where's my music? Yes, continue watching. Anyways, sorry about that. I just noticed I didn't have BGM. Sorry, I got distracted. So this happens, So what they plan to do is they need to stop Cece from getting every curio to art, because that's something bad happens if Cece were to get every curio to art. Nachi has already given her 6 out of the original 7. We have 8 now, but only 7 of them matter, because only 7 of them have her children's souls in them. So they're like, you know what? But oh yeah, I forgot to mention too, Nachi's house gets burnt down at this point to destroy the entrance to the labyrinth. So the entrance to the labyrinth is also destroyed. But they're witches, they don't care. So they're like, you know what? The original labyrinth was destroyed. We're going to use your heckin' memories, Nachi, to go into a fake version of the labyrinth that should still have the curio in it, though. So they do that. We crawl through about 100 and some automatically generated floors to get to the last curio and bring it out for Nachi. So we do that. We get the last curio to art. Nachi gets it. Stuff happens. Then Cece shows up and says, Lamau XD, Nachi, you're adopted. Your mother is a puppet. She's been dead for 2 years. And that makes Nachi notably upset, because no one had told her that her mother had been dead for 2 years. And then Cece just shows up and is like, yeah, you're adopted, your mother's not real. I can make her real, though, if you give me the curio. BGM's a bit loud? Thank you, thank you. There we go, how about that? Hopefully that's better. So yeah, that happens. Nachi gets really sad about being adopted. And it's like, you know what? Here's the curio. Bring mother back. And then Cecilia goes, Lamau XD, get pranked, nerd. Get brain blasted. So she, of course, brain blast Nachi, wipes her mind. Eureka's also here. Oh yeah, other thing that happens. Eureka's also here at this point. And then Eureka's like, Nachi, you're so dumb. Why would you do this? And then Cece says, get brain blasted, Eureka. And she doesn't just memory manipulate her. She's like, you know what? You just don't get brain. She just completely pushes through Eureka's mind and just deletes her memories, which essentially kills her. So Eureka's essentially dead. And you know what happens when someone dies in one of the twin worlds? That's right, baby. We get the discordance. However, because Eureka's not dead, merely like brain dead, the discordance doesn't immediately happen. It's on like a time delay. So they got like maybe 100 years till they die. So you got like 100 years to live. However, so that happens. Cecilia gets all the curios they need and they leave. Nachi ends up on the streets, and because she forgot everything, doesn't have a home, because she doesn't know she lives anywhere. She forgets all about Perico, which Perico's still super attached to Nachi, so Perico gets heartbroken. A few things happen. Nachi like almost kills someone with magic, and because she's still technically not licensed and also almost killed someone, she gets put into super jail forever. So, she just reflexively uses magic and hits someone with lightning because of reasons that happen. It's not great. She almost kills Mark. You don't know who Mark is yet, but Mark doesn't really matter. And then she gets put in jail for like 80 years. So now she's in jail for 80 years, which means that the years to live... It's about to for about 70 years. So we go from about 100 years to live to probably about 30 years. Important thing to note about witches. They don't usually age because they have a funny magic witch potion they can drink to stop aging. Nachi didn't drink it. Anyway, so now it's been 70 years. Nachi is now old. She looks like an old grandma. She acts like an old grandma. She gets out of jail because the world's ending. And they're like, you know what? You've been on good behavior after these 70 years. You're allowed to go free for, like, the last 30 years till the world ends. So, Nachi does that. She goes free. She, gets Perico back. Periko is still a child doll because Periko's a Manania. She's animated with magic. She's not alive in the traditional sense. Sentient, absolutely. Alive's debatable. It's weird. Note that during these 70 years, she also forgot about you, so you as Fanty also couldn't do anything but watch the story play out. But she gets out, she goes to live in the slums, she helps a bunch of people, is very selfless, because she's one of the only few witches left that can do alchemy. She makes people potions and stuff. And then one day, Periko brings her Eureka's diary. Because Periko originally meant to send her the diary while she was in jail. It's in the true ending. Well, Periko can't be brought back in the true ending because she's already left with Cecilia. Like, she's already gone. She didn't die, she went with Cece to a different world. We'll get to... That's actually outside Discordant scope. But no, it's because during after the Discordance fight, when Cece leaves, Periko goes with her. So, no, that's why she doesn't come back. Because she was, you know... Yeah, that happens. But anyways, where was I? Right. Things happen, yada yada. She spends about 20 or so years in the heckin' slums or so. Maybe, like, more than 20. So there's probably only about... So the world goes down to about probably, like, 5 years left at most. So 5 years at most. And then at this point, Periko brings Eureka's diary to Nachi because she finds it. And or meant to bring it forever ago, but it got lost. Or... No, it was Wick, whatever her name is, brought her the diary because she had it in her shelf or something. Things happen. So Yuri's diary. So this goes to Nachi. So important thing to remember, this thing's still a curio. So it means it got the powers. At this point, Kit Kat also shows up with Maggie. So we need Maggie here now. Maggie is what Brain Blasted Yuri is, because she's literally like brain of a 3-year-old. Because she literally got her entire mind blasted by Cecilia. So those two show up here with the diary as well. And I'll look at the VOD. I think this will just confuse people even more, but you know what? Go for it. And they're like, hey, Nachi, you're pretty cool now. You're no longer a heckin' teenager. You're like 90 years old. You're grandma. And then Nachi reads the diary and Sunil's like, you know what? Why are we here? And they're like, we could do one thing. And Nachi's like, oh yeah, right. This diary's a curio because Eureka died writing it. We can use this curio to make a Luna 2. This is given to you in about two or three sentences. It's easy to miss. But yeah, Eureka's diary is actually a curio back from a Luna 1. And they use it to make a Luna 2. Because, so I said how people from the World Tree Tribe can jump between worlds. Cecilia's not the only person who can do that jump. Nachi's from the World Tree Tribe and can also jump between worlds. So they use this, they make a Luna 2, and they're like, you know what, let's jump. And Nachi dies. She is grandma, she died. And then the people who are here is like, dang, that sucks. Nachi's supposed to jump over and, like, do a new Luna. You know what? We can fix this problem. Let us make Puppet Nachi. So we go ahead and we make Puppet Nachi. Who is just like the real Nachi in every way, except that she forgot a lot of her memories because she became a puppet. But yeah, so at this point, basically everyone from the original time is dead, except Cecilia, because we're all just copies and puppets at this point. Don't worry about it. Periko's the same. Periko's always Periko. And then Puppet Nachi jumps over to a Luna 2. This thing. Once again, we're Fanty, we're still there. And then this is where this happens. So the start of the game is actually, like, very late in the timeline. You start the game as Fanty in Luna 2 with Puppet Nachi and a copy of the original Luna. And you don't know any of this till about 60 hours later. Which means that a bunch of stuff that happens in a Luna 2 are payoffs for much later. Because I'll explain why, because it's cool to explain. So anyways, Puppet Nachi shows up, and to me, like, dang, we need to not have the revolution happen. This kind of sucked when it happened in Luna 1. I'm not getting to True End. I'm not getting to True End today because I haven't gotten there in my playthrough yet, and I don't remember exactly everything that happens in True End. I was only going to go up to Discordance. And then I could do like a little bonus one of these to explain True End. But anyways, they go back to so they're in a Luna 2. A Luna 2 is a carbon copy of a Luna 1. Everything's exactly the same, except for a couple reasons. One, a Luna 2 is based off of Eureka's memories of it, which means that a couple of things don't happen. For example, there's a few different minor inconsistencies. And two is Marta's now here. Oh yeah, Nachi changes her name to Madame Marta because there's a second Nachi here because it's a copy of Eureka's memories and Eureka remembers Nachi teenager. So Nachi old lady's like, you know what? I need to not be named Puppet Nachi. I need to be called Madame Marta. She picks Marta because that's the heckin' street she lived on for the 20 years she was allowed out of jail. And she says, we need to fix every stupid decision I made the first time we were in Aluna. So she does a lot of things to prevent many of the bad stuff from happening. So a lot of really bad stuff that happened in Aluna 1 doesn't happen because Marta does a lot of pre-planning. For example, Eureka does not get Bismuth to hate them and beat them up. Because Marta says, make sure you're proper, because this is a noble. The Prince arc doesn't happen, thankfully. The Queen doesn't get killed in the Revolution immediately. A bunch of stuff like that. But from you playing this through, is you see the reverse. You see, because you play through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the actual order is, when the true story order is going to be, let me put some text. Negative 1, 2, 3, 4. That's not in order. 1, 5. So that's the order you play through the story in. So what a bunch of stuff that happens here looks like is actually just fixes for what happened in 3. However, you play through the good version of events first as the player, then play through the bad version of events. But they happened in the other way. You know, that's how it be. So a bunch of stuff happens. This here's the order Fanty goes through it in. This is Fanty's order. Let me just draw a line there. Which means that a bunch of abilities you had earlier in the timeline you don't have at this point. Because you're outside time and space, which means that heckin' grandma over here has to give you a bunch of abilities that you use to help her teenage self later. Because you don't care about time being a wandering spirit. You kind of just go wherever the heck you feel like it. So a bunch of things happen here that don't really matter. What's important that happens here? Marta does a bunch of prep work to get ready for the Discordance and try to stop it. She gives Yuri her heckin' Immortality Witch Potion. So Eureka drinks the Immortality Witch Potion to prevent her death. She gives Eureka a small pet bird because the pet of the owner of a household will take the full brunt of any curses that the owner receives. And the manor isn't owned by a real person because Bismuth is a puppet. which means that Eureka, being the only noble there, is the de facto owner of the manor. Meaning that when she reads the book in this timeline, she doesn't get killed, the bird does. Which is how Marta sidesteps this from happening. What do you mean, what? Katsumi, you don't remember that? You don't know why she had the bird? No, it's the pet of the owner of a household takes on the brunt of any curses. And because Bismount's not technically the owner. You didn't know that's why? That's fair. That's fair. That's why I'm doing this. No, because Bismount isn't real. He's a heckin' construct. You can't own property as a construct. And Eureka, as the de facto noble there, owns it. So yeah, she reads the book, doesn't die. That's why her bird dies that one time. Because it takes on the brunt of the death curse. So she doesn't die like that, because Marta planned for that. She doesn't die from just being injured, because she drank the witch potion, so she can't die that way either. Marta basically said, I need to keep Eureka alive at all costs. Except this isn't Eureka at this point, this is Eureka 2. Because everyone's a carbon copy at this point, because all the original people in Aluna are dead at this point, so everyone's a copy, except for Perico, still Perico. And Madame Marta's a heckin' puppet of Nachi. Other things that happened in Aluna 2. So remember I said all the witches mostly died? There was one important one that lived. Sally Coral. So everyone here is dead, but there's one that lived. We're gonna put in their name. Sally Coral. Sally Coral's specialty is of possession, which also apparently somehow works. Sally Coral, she was the one who was outside of country that Cecilia and Go couldn't kill because they were outside of country. Like, they were talking about who they can kill in the society. That was one of the names that they brought up. Sally Coral's good at possession. So what she does is she will possess, usually Toma. She can do this between worlds, by the way. So, because Discordance hasn't technically killed Estella yet, everyone in Estella is still alive at this point, she uses her powers of possession to possess Toma and help out Nachi occasionally. She also uses this to help Mark possess Cognac and help Nachi that way too occasionally. That's why it can seem like Cognac and Toma do some, like, nice things compared to how they normally would have acted in Aluna 2, because they aren't always them. Sometimes they are Sally Coral and Mark. Mark also just lived a very long time, surprisingly. Like, he was like as ancient as Nachi is. Sally Coral's a witch. She drank the witch potion. She lives forever. So, these people all work together to stop this from happening. However, this thing doesn't care, and it happens anyways, because Eureka 2 doesn't die, doesn't get brain blasted. She's like, gives up. The revolution still happens, a bunch of murder happens. Eureka 2 sees this, it's like, dang, I hate the world, I give up. And she gets, like, despair-filled or whatever. Which apparently counts as her dying for the point of the discordance. So this thing still happens. The sky goes red, bad things happen, and then, if you're playing through the game normally, when the discordance first starts happening, you go to Estella 2. You immediately jump here. However, story-wise, there is no break in time between 1 and 5. Puppet Nachi says, okay, Fanti, the discordance is happening, and then you disappear and reappear in, like, 5 minutes. Because time isn't real. And he says, oh, hey, you look different. Your eye looks cooler. And anyways, so this thing happens. The sky turns red. The world's, probably going to end. But then, Puppet Nachi, also known as Madame Marta, always has a plan. She made 9 pillars that were supposed to help seal the discordance. So you have to go around and activate all the pillars. There's a bunch of stuff that happens. You have to go farm salt for like an hour. You have to farm like stones for an hour. That's not important. That's just farming. So this happens. Things happen. At this point in the story, she dies or runs out of power. It's hard to say because she wasn't technically alive. It's weird. Marta's form collapses and she can't sustain herself. Oh, I forgot to mention, there's also a Nachi too. But before she dies, she tells Nachi that she is Nachi. And to go steal the Discordance, please. Thanks. So, Nachi and Eureka too both go fight the Discordance. Along the way, they kill Go. Go gets killed. Well, he becomes a donkey brain thing. Go doesn't really matter in the timeline. Go's just kind of... Go causes some problems, but he's mostly just there as Cecilia's side piece. He doesn't really matter. They go to stop the Discordance. Cece is there waiting for them and says, please don't stop the Discordance. I need to blow up this world so I can make a new world again. And they say, please, no, we have to stop Cece. So they stop Cece from that, and then Cece says, dang. And then them beating up Cece makes her remember that the Curios are her heckin' child's souls, and she probably shouldn't blow those things up. So she goes, you know what? Maybe I don't blow up my 7 children. Just a thought. Maybe I help steal the Discordance. So she goes to try to steal Discordance. She hecking loses to the Discordance. Because of course she does. And then you have to go steal the Discordance yourself. So you go and steal the Discordance because you grinded out salt like a good little fanty. So you go, you steal the Discordance, which means that you get to make a... Because it's sealed, what happens is Stella 2 kind of... Not Stella 2, Luna 2 kind of reformats itself so that the world can continue. Because we no longer have 2 worlds in the cosmology, because at this point, this world's also dead. Estella's already dead at this point, too, right at the end. But by stealing the Discordance, the world doesn't collapse, which means that you get to make it a new, true Luna. So we now have, like, kind of a Luna 2.5 at this point that exists. So, stuff happens. You make a Luna 2.5, because it's kind of not the same as Luna 2, but it's kind of the same. It's weird. Nachi's dead. But then everyone from a Luna 1 gets to be in a Luna 2.5 now. Nachi isn't because she technically wasn't from a Luna originally. She was from a Stella. But Eureka 2 ends up here, and everyone else who was there ends up in the Luna 2.5. And that's normal end. That's the regular end of the game. That's not true end. But all of this... I talked for like an hour. That's just a quick jot notes of the basic plot of this game. There's a lot more cool in-depth in the weed stuff I'm going to talk about, but this was just the basic time plot overview to get to the regular ending of the game. This takes you probably 80 hours, at least, on the first playthrough. Maybe a bit longer, maybe a bit shorter, but that's the basics of it. I need a breath, sorry. Took you longer? That's fair. It's an average. Some people take longer, some people take shorter. It depends on how much you follow the walkthrough. It depends on how efficient you grind, etc., etc. Also, yeah, Sally, Coral, and Mark are also dead because this thing collapsed. But this at least gets sealed, so Discordance is gone. After you seal it, Cecilia and Perico both jump to a different world. Because they're also technically not supposed to be in a Luna 2.5, so they're like, you know what, let's go to a different world. So they both leave, which means that as everyone who's in a Luna is back, everyone who isn't. Then there's more stuff that happens after this, but that's like the big post-game dungeon, which I haven't cleared through yet on stream, so I don't want to talk about too in depth. But a bunch of stuff happens. So now I want to talk about heckin' cool stuff that happens. Because that's just the basic broad strokes of the plot. I want to talk about a lot of just in-the-weeds interesting details that happen. Okay, I need a lot more space. Note that I did skip through a lot of important stuff in the plot. So this isn't literally everything that happens in the main story, but it's one of the important stuff. So let's see. What do we want to start with? We have a few different ways we could start. I don't want to talk about Fanti because it's hard to explain. I could talk about the manor. Well, a few other things we could talk about. Oh yeah, other important things. Just random important things that happen. You know how we said earlier that Count Bismuth got trapped in the library forever? You kill him. He dies. Bismuth also dies. The true end picture. Yeah, the true end is so good. Yeah, it's worth all the suffering you had to go through. I'm not going to talk about true end, though, because I'm not there yet on stream, and I don't remember enough of it. But yeah, I know about the true end picture. I've gotten true end before. True end's, like, nice. And people are actually going to be happy in a Labyrinth game for once. It's insane. So let's see. What else can I talk about? So we have the Children's Souls and the Curios. We have 8 Curios to art. Technically, there's 10, but one of them is the Labyrinth itself, which doesn't count. And one of them is a book that tells you about every other curio, which also doesn't count. We could talk about... Oh... I mean, I'm happy with that, but I need to... I've only been going for an hour. We can talk about other stuff. Oh, I can talk about, I guess, how you play through the game, though. Note that you as a player have to piece most of this together from incomplete information. Because, again, you're going through the game. Actually, this isn't also the order you experience the game. I lied. How do I edit a text box? How do I edit a text box in Microsoft Paint? Am I allowed to do that? Is that a thing I can do legally? We'll just do this. You don't actually go through -1. -1 happens, like... Actually, sorry, that's the true order of things. Sorry, that's correct. That's correct. That's the true order of things that happen. I was forgetting what certain things in my Microsoft Paint were. Because, like... This looks like insanity! So anyways, let's see. Yeah, this is... Oh, no. Well, I forget what half of this means, so we'll get back to down here. Corkboard. I do. I need red string. I need red string so badly. You have no idea. Let's see. We could talk about... Well, Count Bismuth's not very important. I think we talk about him, but he's not really important. He just liked art and also fell in love with CC, but then died. Fanti is actually not super important as to what they are, because they're mostly just the vessel for the player who, just outside time and space. Where's Fanti at? That's a good point, but I need to do this quickly. So I don't have a quick toggle for Fanti set up yet. Now if I do that, there we go. And then we can just do a little bit of that. That should work. There we go. Like, what other cool things? Let's see, I talked about the heckin' curios are cool. I talked about a lot of stuff. So, again, there's, like, a lot of stuff that happens when you play through from 1, 2, 3, 4. There's so much setup in 1 that has payoffs in, like, 4. Like, this game just goes so hard lore-wise. But, I mean, I covered most of the big things I want to hit, at least chronologically. I don't know. Katsumi, you got any questions? That's probably a good space to start. You're the other Galleria person. You got any questions for the heckin' Board of Wisdom? Because honestly, like, we've been going for... I mean, I'm down for this to be a shorter type stream, because I've just been rambling for an hour and a half. So this is dead. What else Think of anything? Yeah, I mean, I covered a lot of what I wanted to cover. Like, I thought this would take a bit longer, but I guess that's because I wasn't talking about True End either. Oh yeah, for the uninformed, a trend of this game involves you having to go through a 3,651 floor dungeon. Anything unique with Marquis in the manor? By what you mean by the Marquis? Like, you mean like what, the big head? Or do you mean like Bismont when they were not like the big head? You mean beforehand? Because beforehand I already really covered, because he was just like the owner of the manor. He liked his art. He put bad ideas into heckin' Bistow's head. Things happened. He got killed by CC. Actually, didn't get killed. He got put in the labyrinth forever. He became the big head. I mean, there's so much more I want to talk about this game, but the problem is, like, I try to, like, piece together in my head now. Because there's so much I have to just remember, just off the top of my head. What else do I talk about? The manor itself is kind of interesting, actually. So the manor, because it's the source of the labyrinth, is kind of interesting in the world. Because in Aluna, a lot of magic just doesn't work. Because there's a very low, what's known as mana density there. Mana is essentially the force of magic. In order for magic to work, you have to have a high enough mana density in the area around you. A lot of the parts of Aluna don't have that, which means that magic kind of sucks there. The manor's a bit different. The manor's a little bit of higher mana density than normal, meaning that things in the manor that normally couldn't function magic-wise can function in the manor. That's how you get the puppet count, because he can function in the manor. That's how Perico gets to stay alive for the most part in the manor. She has a ring, too. Perico's a ring that keeps her alive, too. But that's... a lot of stuff happens there. That's also how Marta can set up her pillars and do all that stuff. Because the manor itself is kind of... because it's the source of the labyrinth, it's a big, like, focus on the mana there. It's not enough to do everything. Like, you can't do the most powerful stuff with magic just because there's a bit more mana in the manor. That's why you can't normally get the puppets in the manor. Until once the seals are broken, you can, but that's because the seals are broken, then you get your puppets in the manor. The labyrinth itself is not a curio. The wardrobe into the labyrinth is considered a curio, but it's weird. It's not a true curio. Well, actually, it is. The labyrinth is a curio, because someone's soul was in fact used in the making of it. The labyrinth is Count Bismont's curio. He was the one who was killed in the making of it to put his soul in there. That's why Cecilia killed him. Was that to make the wardrobe and labyrinth a curio. It's mostly the wardrobe that's the curio part of it. But, because again, Cecilia did not like putting her own soul in curios, because that would kill her. She liked putting other people's souls in curios. So you had all the ones made from her children. But then the labyrinth itself was made from Count Bismont, because you have the scene of her killing him. And then, you know, he died in the making of the labyrinth, which is technically the conditions needed to fulfill a curio, is that someone dies in the making of a piece of art. And you could argue that the labyrinth is a piece of art being a gallery. Which is why his soul gets bound to it and why he's the big head in it. That's why he's the big head in it, by the way, is because he's in a curio. The labyrinth is the curio he's in. It's just a special curio because it's something that other people can also enter. The only curio of the art that I don't count as a curio of the art is the catalog. Because catalog doesn't really... it's just a list of all the other curios. But that's how we get the labyrinth, is it's a curio because CC kills the guy. CC was in fact the demon in quotations that was made for Deal with Labyrinth because it's a story that was just passed down. You could call so CC was in fact the demon in the story. The Gardens are just Minania. The Gardens aren't very important. The Gardens are literally just like Minania. They're like your puppet soldiers. They're Minania that are tasked to just work on the labyrinth. They aren't anything special. They're the same as your they're basically the same as your puppet soldiers, except that instead of being told to explore the labyrinth, they're told to maintain the labyrinth. Their controller would technically be the big head. Also has Count Basemont, because they're part of the curio that he is in. And then, yeah, CC's the demon, because the story isn't perfectly true. The reason it's called a demon is probably because people saw CC's heckin' bird form. Or half bird form. And that looks pretty evil, don't you think? So that's probably where the demon part of that came from. Also the whole fact that she murdered Bismont, stuff like that. Yes, that's why most of the walls are repaired, is because the Gardens repair them. Yeah, the walls repaired and come back because the Gardens fix the labyrinth. Except for the ones with the marks on them, because gameplay reasons. But otherwise, yeah, the Gardens are the ones repairing the labyrinth. They're why treasure points are reset, technically. They're not why monsters are reset, that's because there's a bajillion monsters. But yeah. Yeah, the Witch's Crest is just the Witch's Crest. They're the reasons why certain things happen in the labyrinth, because the Gardens are there to maintain it and stop you from taking all of their curios, which you do anyways because you don't care. They're the reason for Garten says you should do the jump. Oh, actually, I want to show people the heckin' jump because it's so funny. Okay, this is a bit of a tangent, but I need to show you the Garten jump if you don't know what the Garten jump is. Because I just love the Garten jump. Yeah, I'll show you. So let me quickly pause the heckin' music, because I don't want to double music, and let me correctly game capture. Where is it? Galleria. Which meme? What are you talking about? Oh, you're talking about my Steam library? Don't worry about it. It's because you can set custom icons in Steam. Why does this game not have volume? Where is my volume?
We've been expecting you.
Hello, Galleria. I'd like to hear.
I wish you a safe journey.
There we go. Yeah, again, we're getting a bit sidetracked, but well, I've done enough in the MS Paint. This is a good way to show some more important parts of lore, I think, is actually playing the game itself. So first thing first, the Garten jump is something I've talked about a lot, just a few times here in offhanded comments. It's so funny. Larry's loud? Thank you. Try that. Anyways, the Garten jump's over here. Intruders should do the jump. Do the jump. Garten is watching. Anyways, I'll do the Garten jump. You ain't ready for the Garten jump. You see that this is just a conveyor belt that leads into a pit? Do the jump. Garten is watching. But the first time you go here, you will not have conveyor stop. So you will just straight up die. Because you don't get conveyor stop till later. So it's like, yeah, do the jump. Garten is watching. Yippee. Something I also want to bring up in the game before I go back to MS Paint. Let me quickly check events, see if there's anything here I care about. Like, I don't think a ton here matter, event-wise, that I have to show, because I talked about most of these. A lot of these are just heckin' trauma that we don't need to go through. But yeah, that's the heckin' Galleria. Anyways, I can close this now. Alright, yeah, that's the garden jump. Let me pull up the heckin' thing again. There we go. Let me turn on the music again. Okay. Where is my... There we go. Okay, to be honest, yeah, if memory plays there, I don't use it ever either, but it's there if you need. Why is the music so loud now? Okay, it shouldn't be loud for you, but it's super loud for me. There we go, I fixed it. What else is important? Fanty is not really... Well, you are important, but stuff. The reason... Oh, yeah, by the way... yeah, the reason why Marta does some things that she probably should know not to do, by the way, is because she lost her memories from becoming Puppet Nachi. There's that, too. That's important. That's why, like, there isn't a direct one-to-one correlation between what Nachi should know and what Marta does, because she lost some of her memories from becoming puppified in order to revive her temporarily. So if you ever notice a couple discrepancies, like something that she should probably know, that's why. What else? I mean, I'm kind of happy with that. Like, I think that's anything else. Gardens don't matter. We talked about that. None of the... Bocklin is strange, but we can't get into Bocklin until I get after... Bocklin's mostly post-discordance. So I can't really get into Bocklin with what we know now about his whole deal. You know, the fancy... Yeah, look at my Microsoft Paint drawing abilities. Welcome to... Yeah, this is why I use Microsoft Paint. Aren't I a great artist? Aren't I the artist of all time? But... it's a whole lot of people are dead. Like, that's like half the lore, is people are dead. People die a lot in this game. And their souls get... And the children's souls get put into the Infinity Stones. And you beat up a bunch of people as puppets. Like, literally two of the people are puppets for most of the game, and you just don't know it. That multiple people are just straight up puppets. Like, well, you know Perico's a puppet, but also Marta's a puppet, and Count Bismont's a puppet. But that honestly might be a decent place to end it. So I'm gonna call that there, and then I'll probably stream tonight with, like, game. Because I just wanted to do, like, a title, if it sounds funny. Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. You gather them all, and you can do it like you want, theoretically. Except beat the Discordance. You can't do that with them, but anything else you're probably fine to do. But, yeah, that's... Let me save this. Sure. As just, Labyrinth Lore. There we go. I need to look back on this in, like, a week and try to decipher what any of this means. But, there we go. I could do Gnosia tonight. I was going to do Yu-Gi-Oh!, but I could do Gnosia tonight if you want to watch that. Like, I'm down to do that later, but I need to not do it right this second. Yeah, I mean, that is Labyrinth Lore. I just want to do a little funner, smaller stream. So I need someone to raid now. Is there anyone else playing the Labyrinth game? No? No one's playing this game? That's crazy. That's wild. Is anyone doing Moon Society? Or not Moon Society, Coven of Dusk. No, no one's doing Coven of Dusk? Sad. I mean, I might just end stream and not raid anyone, which kind of sucks, but I don't really like raiding people. But I don't see any good raid targets, so I'm just going to end stream. See ya, everyone. See you next time. By next time, I mean probably tonight. I'll be doing Gnosia and or Yu-Gi-Oh, but probably Gnosia if Katsumi wants to see Gnosia. Bye.